and welcome back to my channel. My name is Hannah and this is Jar of Fireflies. Here I make videos all about my life as an Orthodox Jewish homeschooling mother of 4. And today I'll be taking you step by step as I prepare our home for Shabbat. That's right, folks. Today is Friday and we are getting ready for Shabbat. It's a pretty basic, simple Shabbat this week. Really not much cooking or anything like that. So I thought I will take you through and kind of show you the sort of checklist items that I keep in my head that I need to get done before Shabbat starts. So these are all Friday tasks that I will get done, or Mr. Firefly will get done, or the kids will get done, whatever. Somebody in our house is getting them done to get our house ready for Shabbat. But before we dive into this list, I want to give a big thank you to today's sponsor, Fabric by Gerber Life. Now, most New Year's resolutions involve long-term habits and they're totally forgotten within a week or two. January 17th is even known as Ditch New Year's Resolutions Day. But hey, protecting your family does not have to be forgotten. It is not too late to finally resolve to get life insurance. And you don't even have to do it again next year. Fabric is the quick and easy way to protect your family and cross off this very important thing from your to-do list. With life insurance from Fabric by Gerber Life, you can help protect your family's financial future if something unexpected happens. Fabric was designed by parents for parents to get a high-quality, surprisingly affordable term life insurance policy in less than 10 minutes. You could be offered coverage instantly with no health exam required. And Fabric has a 30-day money-back guarantee, and you can cancel at any time. Fabric was designed to give parents affordable term life insurance, plus wills, access to college savings funds, and more tools to help protect your family's financial future, all in an easy online experience. Protect your family today with Fabric by Gerber Life. Apply today in just 10 minutes at meetfabric.com/fireflies. That's meetfabric.com/fireflies. meetfabric.com/fireflies. All right, now where you're all adding that to your to-do list, I'm gonna get started on my pre-Shabbat to-do list. Let's go. Okay, so I don't have a particular order that I do all of these things in necessarily, though there are some things that definitely get done later in the day and some things that I tend to do earlier in the day. And I do have cards for a lot of these items using my note card organization system, but I don't have a card for everything on this list. Mainly what I have the cards for are things that I tend to forget or things that would make Shabbat not as good starting out if I forgot. So things like thawing the bread. I have definitely forgotten to thaw the bread plenty of times, so having a card to remind me to thaw the bread makes that an easy thing that I can see the card and then I'm like, oh, let me just go do that now so I can cross that off of my list. And then I don't forget to thaw the bread. Worst case scenario, if I forget to thaw the bread, we pull it out closer to Shabbat, like right before Shabbat, when my husband's like, where's the bread? We need to put it on the hot plate. And then we pull it out and I'm like, oops, and we just wait a little bit longer to eat. But if we want warm, delicious bread, instead of kind of room temperature or slightly frozen bread, I do need to pull it out earlier in the day. So anyways, that was a long way to say one of the items on my to-do list today is thaw some bread. And that again is because I bake my bread earlier in the week and I put it in the freezer, so all I have to do Friday is pull it out. I'm not having to worry about the whole bread baking process here on Friday. So let's go pull that bread out. Okay, so that is one item off my list. I'm just gonna leave that bread here on the counter until a little bit later on today when I get that ready to put on the hot plate by wrapping it in some foil. Okay, next thing that I can do here earlier in the day is check the hot water urn. This is our hot water urn. And basically what I'm wanting to do in there is make sure that that is filled with water so that we can have hot drinks on Shabbat. The kids love to make hot cocoa. I like to make tea all throughout the year. My husband does coffee every day using the hot water urn and instant coffee. So yeah, we totally use this hot water urn often. However, we can't refill it on Shabbat, so I need to make sure that it's full here today so that we'll have enough water to get us through the next day. Okay, so it appears that Mr. Firefly took care of the hot water urn for us yesterday at some point, because I know when I checked it yesterday morning, I thought to myself, I need to add water later, and I just didn't get around to it. But since it's on my list of things to do today, I'm checking it now, and it's already done. Okay, another very important item that I need to do is check the fridge and make sure that it is on Shabbat mode. Okay, a quick open of the fridge and I can tell that Mr. Firefly has already put that on Shabbat mode. He likes to be in the habit of doing it on Thursday so that we don't forget, and I like to be in the habit of double checking that on Friday so that we don't forget. This is one of those that is so important that I did make a card for it for my card file system, because I really don't want to forget that. We have forgotten to put our fridge on Shabbat mode before, and when that happens, we can't open our fridge on Shabbat because then the lights turn on in the fridge. Now, our old refrigerator, we could just unscrew the light bulb in our refrigerator, and all of this is, by the way, because we do not turn lights on and off on Shabbat. We can leave them on or leave them off, but we don't turn them on or off on Shabbat. Anyhow, our old refrigerator, we could just unscrew the light bulb and take it out, and we just left it off all the time. This refrigerator, unfortunately, that is not possible. So we have to go and manually put the refrigerator on Shabbat mode each week. And so what our Shabbat mode does is it makes sure that the ice maker doesn't refill even if we're taking ice out, so we're not causing that to happen, and the lights don't turn on when we open the refrigerator. So we just need to check that. Yeah, in the past when we have forgotten to do that, we haven't been able to get to some of our food. Now, most of our food we do keep in a different refrigerator that does have the light bulb taken out, so it's not an issue, but we keep a lot of our salads, milk, stuff like that is all in this refrigerator. So I've had to like run next door to our other neighbor and be like, can I borrow some mayonnaise? And can I borrow some milk? And things like that on Shabbat. It's, yeah, you do what you gotta do. Okay, let's move on to the next item on our list. All right, so it's early afternoon now, so now I'm kind of moving into things that not necessarily a great idea to do super early in the day, but that I can go ahead and start getting done now. So there's two things that I'm going to be working on right now. The first one I'm going to do is go around and make sure that all the lights in the house are on or off, depending on how I want them for Shabbat. So because we're not turning lights on and off on Shabbat, I want to make sure that, for example, our kitchen light is on, our dining room light is on, our bathroom lights are on, and then that other rooms that we don't need to have lights on because we're not really using those rooms, like my study, for example, those lights are all turned off. And while I'm going around checking on those lights, I'm going to make sure that our little light switch covers are placed on our light switches so that I will not accidentally turn them on and off. I'm really bad about that. So the light switch covers are a really big help for me. Before we had our little magnetic light switch covers, I would just put some tape over the light switches, but these light switch covers look much better and they work much better. So let's go do the light switches. Okay, now that that whole light switch situation is taken care of, I'm going to go through and just do a quick scan of the house and put away things that we call muktzah. These are things that we don't use on Shabbat. So for example, a marker because we're not writing on Shabbat, or like a computer because we're not using computers on Shabbat. So anything like that, we don't even want to touch it on Shabbat. So I want to make sure that these items are put away so that they're not in our way. For example, I'm looking here at the classroom table. There's tons of stuff on it, most of which we cannot touch on Shabbat. I want to get all that stuff put away so that we can use this table to play games on Shabbat. And again, these items that we don't even want to touch on Shabbat because they are of no use to us are called muktzah. So let's go put away a few muktzah items. Okay, I finished putting away those muktzah items, and I've also reminded my kids to put away any muktzah items that they have. We don't have a ton of toys that light up and make noise, but the ones that do, I want to make sure that they are put away so that does not become an issue on Shabbat. Okay, next item on my list, I want to go ahead and run the garbage disposal and put a strainer in there. If I don't do this when I'm rinsing plates on Shabbat, inevitably the sink will all kind of clog up with the food things and it will just be filled with yucky, dirty water, and that's not fun for anybody. So I always run the garbage disposal before Shabbat, put a strainer in so that once that strainer gets full, I can just empty that out on Shabbat and put it back in and continue on about my rinsing of various plates. So let's go do that now. Okay, so with all of those things done, now I'm gonna move on to sort of a general tidying up of the house. Because this week was such an easy week, I was able to give it a pretty solid cleaning yesterday. So not a whole lot to do except for the general tidying up of things. We're definitely gonna be getting the kids involved in this process. They're gonna help with things like emptying the dishwasher and picking up, of course, things that they own here around the house. But anyways, let's go do a quick tidy up. Okay, we are wrapping up our tidy up there, and now I'm gonna work on setting the table. It's still like mid-afternoon right now, so I'm definitely not going to wait to set the table until right before Shabbat. There's no reason to put it off. We can set the table anytime. I could literally even do it the day before, except that we do use our dining room table a lot, so I usually set it on Fridays. But I definitely want to do it earlier in the day whenever possible because I want that done before Shabbat starts. If I have to do it after, it's not like a big deal. I'm not doing anything wrong, but it's such a good thing to have it ready. And so that as soon as Shabbat starts, we're ready to just welcome Shabbat and enjoy it. So let's go set that table. Okay, so there's a couple of items that I just laid out there while I was setting the table. I just wanted to go over those real quick. So one is our Kiddush cup. And so this is what we will use for our wine when we make our blessing over wine on Friday night. This cloth is our challah cover, and we use that to cover the challah until we are ready to use it. And then of course we have challah. And then to go with our challah, we have salt. So that is just what is in this little container here. We just keep a little bit of salt because we serve our bread on Friday night with a little pinch of salt. And that is how we set our table for Friday night. All right, so this is done. Let's see what's next on the list. Okay, so table's all set. And then as I was working on that, Mr. Firefly came home and he brought flowers for me and our daughter. So Mr. Firefly does this every Friday, and these flowers will decorate our Shabbat table. So this becomes one of my to-do list items. I don't mind. So I'm gonna go ahead and put these flowers into some vases right now so that they can go on the table too. Okay, the last few things on my list are Mr. Firefly jobs up until the very end when I am lighting candles for Shabbat. So I guess well, I guess really next on my list is I'm gonna go take a shower, get cleaned up, and get dressed for Shabbat because these are not Shabbat clothes and we want to look nice for Shabbat. So, all right, so I'm gonna go do that and I will come back out when Mr. Firefly is ready to do his jobs. Okay, I'm out, I'm ready for Shabbat, and Mr. Firefly is getting ready to set up my candles. All right, so now the candles are all set up and ready for me to light. The last thing that we need to do is set up our hot plate so that we can warm up our food on Shabbat. We don't use our stove or a microwave or anything like that on Shabbat, so we set up a hot plate like a food warmer, and we just plug that in on a timer, and that way we're able to add our food onto that. It doesn't cook the food, it doesn't get hot enough to cook food, but it will warm the food up so that we can still have warm food on Shabbat. So let's go do that. All right, and with that, we are all ready for Shabbat. Here in a few minutes, I will light the candles, and then it will be officially Shabbat here in our home. So with that, I am going to go ahead and call this video a close. Thank you all so much for being here today. Please give this video a thumbs up, hit that like button if you enjoyed. It helps my channel out a lot, and for that, I thank you. And be sure to hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss any of my future videos. I would love to see you here again. And of course, don't forget to check out our lovely sponsor today, Fabric by Gerber Life. I have left you all of that information down in the description box below and in my pinned comment. And with that, we are all done. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you in my next upload. Okay, so I don't have a particular order that I do all of these things. Oh, now the oven's on. There. Okay, now that that whole light switch situation is taken care of, why am I crooked? Maybe I'm not crooked, I feel crooked. And then the next few things on my list are Mr. Firefly. So loud, what a cute car. Huh. All right, and there we go. We are all ready for Shabbat. All that is I cannot talk today. You think that's funny? Yeah? You're very cute.